Daniel stood at the edge of the shining hall, his eyes wandering across the massive chamber filled with lights, music, and strange voices. The walls were curved like waves, glowing with soft blue patterns that pulsed gently, almost as if the building itself was alive. He had never seen anything like it before. Even though he had trained for years to be part of the Interstellar Cultural Exchange Program, nothing could have prepared him for this. The air smelled different here. Not bad, not good, just different. It carried the scent of flowers that were not from Earth, mixed with something metallic like fresh rain on steel. Daniel adjusted his collar nervously. He wore the formal uniform of the program, a dark blue suit with silver lining, meant to represent the unity and professionalism of humanity. He tried to stand tall, but inside his heart was beating fast. This was his first event on the alien world of Navara. He was surrounded by beings of shapes and colors his mind still struggled to understand. Some looked almost human, with tall bodies and bright skin tones of silver or green. Others were stranger, long limbs, glowing eyes, feathers that shimmered in the light. Daniel felt small among them, but also proud. He was here as a representative of Earth. At the center of the hall, the gathering was in full motion. Music that sounded like a mix of bells and deep drums filled the air. Groups of aliens stood together, talking in soft musical voices. Some laughed in ways that reminded him of wind chimes. Daniel had practiced the alien greetings for weeks, but he still worried he might say the wrong thing or bow at the wrong time. He took a deep breath and reminded himself of his mission: to observe, to learn, and to build bridges of trust. That was what humanity needed now. After all, Earth was young in the great network of civilizations. They had much to prove. Daniel walked slowly around the edge of the hall, studying the aliens. He wondered which group he should try speaking with first. Suddenly he felt it, a gaze. A strange, strong feeling, as if someone was looking straight into him. He turned his head. Across the room stood a woman, unlike anyone he had ever seen. She was tall, almost as tall as the tallest men on Earth, with skin that shimmered like pearl under the blue lights. Her hair, long and flowing, glowed faintly with streaks of silver and violet, as though the night sky itself had settled upon her head. Her eyes were wide and bright, a glowing shade of teal that seemed both kind and powerful. She wore a robe of deep indigo with patterns that shifted like water, and when she moved, the fabric seemed alive, flowing in ways cloth should not. Daniel froze. He didn't know why, but something about her presence was overwhelming. She wasn't just beautiful in an alien way. She seemed to carry a weight, a certainty, as though she belonged to something far greater than the moment. Their eyes met. For a long second, Daniel couldn't look away. His chest tightened. He tried to remind himself that staring was rude, especially in a place where human manners might not apply. He forced himself to blink, to look away, but before he could, she smiled. It wasn't just a polite smile. It was warm, bright, and strangely familiar, like a memory he couldn't quite reach. Then, to his complete shock, she turned to the small group of alien women standing beside her. They had been speaking softly among themselves, but now they looked at her, following her gesture as she pointed at him, and then she said the words, clear, loud, filled with certainty. "This is my husband." The sound of her voice carried across the hall. Though her language was alien, Daniel's earpiece instantly translated it into English. The words echoed in his mind, louder than the music, louder than the whispers that followed. Daniel's mouth went dry. "Husband, what?" He stared, unable to move as the group of alien women looked at him with surprise, curiosity, and... Were those giggles? Yes, some of them laughed lightly, covering their mouths in a way that felt strangely human. All around, more aliens turned to see what had happened. Their glowing eyes shifted between Solara and Daniel. The room's atmosphere changed in an instant. The music still played, but it now felt distant, almost drowned out by the rush of murmurs spreading through the hall. Daniel's heart raced. He wanted to say something to explain that this was a mistake, that he didn't even know her name. But his voice wouldn't come. He stood frozen, his thoughts spinning in circles. Solara, though he didn't yet know her name, looked at him again. Her smile had not faded. In fact, it grew warmer, as if she were pleased with his reaction. Her eyes shone with certainty, with recognition, as if she truly believed what she had said. Daniel shook his head slightly, trying to understand. Maybe it was a translation error. Maybe the word she used didn't really mean husband, but something close, like partner or companion. Yes, that had to be it. But deep down he felt it. No, the translator was right. She had meant exactly what she said. The alien leaders nearby began to whisper to each other. Some looked worried, others amused. A tall figure with glowing orange eyes approached Solara, bowing slightly. They spoke in rapid tones Daniel couldn't catch, but his earpiece translated. "Are you certain?" "He is human." Solara lifted her chin proudly and answered with one word. "Yes." Daniel felt his legs weaken. The room seemed smaller, hotter. He had dreamed of being noticed in this program, but not like this. Not as someone's husband. The program director, a human woman named Dr. Hayes, hurried to his side. She whispered urgently, "Daniel, don't panic. Stay calm, this could be diplomatic. Just breathe." "Diplomatic?" Daniel whispered back, his voice shaking. "She just told everyone I'm her husband. I don't even know her." Dr. Hayes frowned but kept her composure. In some cultures, declarations like this are symbolic. Maybe it means alliance, not marriage. We need to be careful. But Daniel wasn't so sure. The way Solara looked at him, it wasn't symbolic. It was personal, real, as if she had always known him. Solara began walking across the hall toward him. The crowd parted silently, eyes following her every step. Daniel's stomach turned. Each second felt like an hour. He wanted to run, but his feet stayed rooted. She stopped in front of him. Up close, her presence was even stronger. Her eyes seemed endless, like pools of light. She tilted her head slightly, studying him with that same gentle smile. Finally, she spoke again, her voice calm and certain. "I have seen you before. Long before this moment. You are the one." Daniel blinked. "The one?" he whispered. She nodded. "My visions were true. My heart was true. You are my husband." The hall was silent now. Hundreds of eyes waited for his response. Daniel's mind screamed at him to deny it, to explain the mistake, to laugh it off. But something deep inside held him still. Some part of him, a small voice he didn't understand, whispered that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't wrong. And that thought scared him more than anything. The hall was still buzzing with whispers when Daniel found himself standing face to face with the alien woman. Her calm smile remained, but the weight of her words pressed heavily on his shoulders. Husband. The word echoed again and again in his mind. Refusing to let go, Dr. Hayes, the human program director, quickly stepped forward, trying to control the situation. "Perhaps," she said politely, turning to Solara, "we should speak in private. This gathering is important for both our people. Misunderstandings can cause trouble." Solara nodded with quiet dignity. "Yes, I will explain." The alien leaders agreed, and soon Daniel, Dr. Hayes, and Solara were led to a smaller chamber behind the great hall. The walls there glowed softly with golden light, creating a calmer atmosphere. A round table stood in the center, and 3 seats were arranged around it. Solara sat gracefully, her robe flowing like water. Daniel hesitated, but finally took a seat opposite her. Dr. Hayes remained beside him, her sharp eyes studying everything. For a moment, silence filled the room. Daniel fidgeted nervously, his palms sweating. He wanted answers, yet part of him feared what she might say. Finally, Solara spoke. Her voice was smooth and steady, carrying no doubt. "My name is Solara of House Vera. My people are seers. We do not see time as you humans do. For us, past, present, and future sometimes touch. Since my youth, I have seen visions, clear, unshaken visions of the one who would walk beside me for life." Daniel blinked. "You mean me?" Solara's glowing teal eyes locked on him. "Yes, always you. Before I knew what a human was, before I heard the name of your world, I saw your face in my dreams. I saw your voice speaking words I did not yet understand. I saw your hand reaching for mine." Daniel's breath caught. It was too strange, too unbelievable. How could she have dreamed of him before humans had even joined the Interstellar Council? He shook his head, trying to steady himself. "That doesn't make sense. I've never seen you before." I don't even know you." Solara tilted her head slightly as though she expected this answer. "Your people value choice, freedom. I understand this. But you must also understand we value truth in vision. My people know that what is seen will come. When I saw you, I knew. The path was decided." Dr. Hayes leaned forward carefully. "Lady Solara, forgive me. Are you saying that in your culture, when someone sees a vision like this, it is binding? That the union must happen?" Solara nodded once, her expression serene. Yes, a vision of life bond cannot be ignored. To deny it would bring shame not only to me but to my house. It is as real as breath. Daniel rubbed his temples. His mind raced, trying to keep up. So, when you told everyone in that hall that I was your husband, you weren't joking. You weren't using a different word. You meant it. Yes. The answer came without hesitation. Daniel's chair creaked as he leaned back, stunned. But I didn't agree. On Earth, marriage, or bonding, or whatever you call it, it's about choice. Two people choose each other. You can't just decide for me. Solara's smile softened. I have not taken away your choice. I have only spoken my truth. The path is open. Whether you walk it or not will be yours to decide. Her calm tone made Daniel pause. For a moment, he had expected her to demand, to insist, to claim him like property. But she hadn't. She had only declared what she believed with a certainty that made the room feel both heavier and lighter at the same time. Dr. Hayes cleared her throat. Solara, you must understand, this could create political tension. If humans believe one of our delegates is being forced into something, it could damage trust between our people. Solara met her eyes firmly. There is no force. Only vision. Only truth, Daniel sighed, rubbing his forehead. He didn't know whether to feel flattered, trapped, or terrified. A part of him wanted to run back to the safety of Earth, away from all this. But another part, deep and quiet, was strangely curious. Why him? Out of billions of humans, why his face? Why his life? Solara seemed to sense his confusion. She leaned forward slightly, her eyes glowing brighter. Perhaps you think this is only superstition? But I will tell you what I have seen. In my visions, you stand in places unknown to me. Worlds of stone and sky. You speak words that move both human and alien alike. You carry both light and burden. And always I am beside you, always. Daniel swallowed hard. Her words struck something in him, something he couldn't name. He wanted to deny it, to laugh it off as fantasy, but her certainty, her unwavering calm made it difficult. Dr. Hayes placed a hand on Daniel's arm. You don't have to decide anything now, she said softly. What matters is that we avoid conflict. Let us treat this as a cultural misunderstanding for now. Solara shook her head gently. It is not misunderstanding. It is beginning. The words lingered in the air. Over the next few days, Daniel found himself constantly surrounded by questions. Whenever he stepped into public spaces on Navara, curious eyes followed him. Whispers of the Chosen One and Solara's bondmate spread through the alien city. Some seemed supportive, others doubtful, but none ignored him. The pressure was immense. He had joined the program to learn, not to become a symbol. Yet now, everywhere he went, he was seen not as Daniel the student, but Daniel the husband. Solara, however, was always calm. She never pushed him, never demanded anything. Instead, she invited him to walk with her through the gardens of Navara, to see the flowing rivers that glowed softly at night, to listen to the songs of her people. She explained their traditions, the way families gathered under the stars to share visions, the way children were taught not only knowledge but also patience to wait for glimpses of the future. Daniel listened, torn between awe and resistance. He admired her world, its beauty and peace, but the weight of her certainty frightened him. One evening, as the glowing moons of Navara rose high, Daniel finally asked the question burning in his mind. Solara, what if I say no? What if I walk away? What happens then? Solara looked at him for a long time. The night wind moved her silver-violet hair like waves. Then the vision remains, she said softly. It does not fade because of refusal. The future does not vanish. But your path will be heavier, and so will mine. My people will see it as broken fate. But I will accept your choice, even if it brings sorrow. Her words surprised him. He had expected anger or disappointment, but instead there was only quiet acceptance. She truly meant what she had said earlier. She would not force him. Daniel turned his eyes to the glowing rivers, thinking. He didn't know what to believe, visions, fate, destiny. Those were ideas from stories, not from science. And yet, sitting beside Solara, he couldn't shake the feeling that something larger was at work. Solara's hand brushed lightly against his, almost by accident, almost like a question. Daniel's heart raced, and he quickly pulled his hand back. She did not react, only looked at him with patient eyes. In that moment, Daniel realized something. This was not only about him. This was about two worlds, two peoples learning what it meant to trust each other. Whether or not he accepted Solara's vision, he was already part of something bigger than himself. And that thought was both frightening and strangely exciting. That night, as he lay in his quarters, Daniel stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Solara's words replayed again and again in his mind. I have seen you before. Always you. He did not know what the future would bring, but he knew one thing: this was only the beginning. The days that followed were unlike anything Daniel had ever imagined. Instead of being just another member of the exchange program, he became the center of attention. Everywhere he went on Navarra, eyes followed him. Some were filled with curiosity, others with quiet respect, and a few with doubt. The name Solara had spoken in the hall, husband, had changed how everyone saw him. At first, Daniel wanted to hide. He wasn't ready for the role they seemed to place on his shoulders. But Solara never left his side, and strangely, her calm presence gave him a sense of balance. She did not demand, did not press him with questions, and never forced him to answer her claim. Instead, she simply walked with him, guided him, and introduced him to her world. One bright morning, Solara invited Daniel to visit the crystal gardens of Navarra. They traveled by a floating carriage that glided smoothly above the streets. The city below was alive with color, buildings shaped like spirals, bridges glowing faintly with energy, and towers that reflected the twin suns in dazzling patterns. As they arrived at the gardens, Daniel's breath caught. Tall trees with crystal leaves shimmered under the sunlight, each leaf reflecting tiny rainbows. Rivers of liquid light flowed between the trees, glowing softly with shades of blue and green. Birds with silver wings sang songs that sounded like flutes, filling the air with harmony. Solara walked beside him, her robe trailing gently across the shining grass. This is where my people come to seek calmness, she explained. The crystals sing at night. They carry voices of those who walked before us. Daniel touched one of the glowing leaves carefully. It was cool, smooth like glass, yet soft at the same time. It's beautiful, he whispered. Your world feels like a dream. Solara's eyes glowed warmly. And to me, your world feels like a mystery. I have seen oceans, skies, and forests through your eyes, but I long to walk them myself. Daniel looked at her in surprise. You've seen Earth? In your visions? Yes, she nodded calmly. Blue oceans, white clouds. I saw children laughing in fields, great cities with lights brighter than stars. And I saw you there too, always walking forward, never giving up. Daniel's heart skipped. He didn't know what to say. It felt strange, almost frightening that someone from another world had seen his home before even stepping foot there. Yet there was no doubt in her voice, only honesty. They sat together on a bench made of smooth stone that shimmered with faint colors. Around them, the alien world moved with peace. For a long time, neither spoke. Finally, Daniel broke the silence. Solara, I still don't know what to think about your visions. On Earth, we believe in choice. We don't decide our future by dreams or prophecy. We make it ourselves. Solara looked at him softly. And that is what makes your people special. You move without seeing, yet you keep moving. You walk into darkness and create light. That is why I respect humans even before I met you. Daniel studied her face. There was no pressure, no command in her words, only admiration. Slowly, some of his fear began to fade. In the days that followed, Solara showed Daniel more of Navarra. She took him to the Hall of Voices, where recordings of ancient songs filled the air with haunting beauty. She guided him to the sky bridges, long glowing paths that connected towers high above the city. There Daniel felt the wind against his face as the twin suns set behind the horizon, painting the sky with gold and violet. With each experience, Daniel saw not just a strange alien world, but a society filled with culture, history, and life. And Solara, always patient, explained everything with care. At the same time, Daniel shared his own stories. He told her about Earth's long struggles, wars, mistakes, but also hope, dreams, and achievements. He spoke of explorers crossing oceans without knowing what lay ahead, of scientists who pushed beyond the limits of knowledge, of families who loved and supported each other through hard times. Solara listened intently, her eyes never leaving his face. Your people, she said once, do not see the future, and yet you build it with your hands. That is why your path is strong. Daniel realized then that she did not see humans as weak or primitive, as some other alien species did. She saw them as brave. That thought filled him with unexpected pride. but not everyone approved. One evening, as Daniel returned to his quarters, he found Dr. Hayes waiting. Her expression was serious. "Daniel, we need to talk." He nodded, stepping inside. Dr. Hayes crossed her arms. "You're spending a lot of time with Solara. The council is concerned. Some alien leaders think this union could change the balance of politics. They fear that if humans and House Vera become too close, it might shift alliances." Daniel frowned. "I didn't choose this, she did. I'm just trying to understand." "I know," Dr. Hayes said gently. "But whether you wanted it or not, you've become a symbol. Every step you take with Solara is being watched." Daniel sat heavily on his bed, running a hand through his hair. "So what do I do? Stay away from her?" Dr. Hayes sighed. "That's your decision. But remember, you're representing humanity. Whatever happens, the way you handle this will affect how the galaxy sees us." Her words stayed with him long after she left. The next day, Daniel met Solara again. They walked through the glowing riverside, the water reflecting soft light on their faces. He was quiet at first, lost in thought. Finally, he spoke. "Solara, do you realize what's happening? People are watching us. They're treating us like symbols. Some think this could change everything between our worlds." Solara looked at him calmly. "Yes, I know." Daniel stopped, staring at her. "And you're not worried?" She shook her head. "The path of truth is never without storms. If what we share can build peace, then let the storms come." Her confidence both frustrated and inspired him. How could she stay so calm when he felt so uncertain? He sighed. "I don't even know if I believe in destiny. But I do know one thing, I don't want to be forced. If this bond is real, then it has to be chosen. By me, by you, not just by visions." Solara studied him for a long moment. Then slowly she smiled. Not the mysterious smile from before, but a warmer, gentler one. "Then let us build choice together. Let us learn each other, not as prophecy, but as people." Daniel felt his chest loosen as if a heavy weight had lifted. For the first time since that night in the hall, he truly smiled back. Over the next weeks, they grew closer. Not as husband and wife yet, but as companions learning about each other's worlds. Solara asked endless questions about human food, human art, and even human humor. Daniel, in turn, asked about Navara's traditions, its stories, and its way of life. They argued sometimes about freedom, about fate, about the meaning of choice, but even in disagreement, they found respect. And slowly Daniel realized something. Solara was not just an alien woman with strange visions. She was a person, intelligent, curious, and kind. And the more he knew her, the more he began to wonder if maybe, just maybe, her vision had seen something real after all. One night, standing on a high sky bridge with the stars spread out above them, Daniel turned to Solara. His voice was quiet, almost shy. "Solara, maybe I don't believe in destiny the way you do, but I think I'd like to see where this path goes. With you." Solara's glowing eyes softened. She did not reply with words at first. Instead, she simply looked at him, and in her gaze was warmth deeper than any vision. Finally, she whispered, "Then we will walk it together." And in that moment, Daniel felt that perhaps humanity and Nivara were not so different after all. The twin suns of Nivara had just begun to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet. Daniel stood beside Solara at the edge of a high cliff overlooking the city. Below, the glowing rivers twisted like ribbons of light, and the towers of the city reflected the fading sunlight. Everything seemed peaceful. Yet Daniel could feel a tension in the air, a sense that something important was about to happen. Solara's hand brushed lightly against his. "Daniel," she said softly, "the time has come. You must understand why the path of choice is tested, not only by vision but by action. Soon our bond will face a trial." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. "A trial? What do you mean?" Solara's teal eyes glimmered with calm determination. "An enemy approaches. One that does not respect our worlds. They seek to destroy peace. To survive, humans and Nivarans must work together." Daniel looked at her, confused. "But why me? Why us?" "You are my chosen companion," Solara said simply. "And yet, to truly walk this path together, you must act. You must choose not only to be here, but to stand and fight alongside your people and mine." Daniel swallowed hard. Fear and excitement churned inside him. He had trained for danger, but never for this. Never for a battle where the lives of not just humans but an entire alien world depended on him. The warning came the next day. Alarms echoed through the city, a low, resonating hum that vibrated through the ground. Overhead, shadowy ships appeared, dark against the twin suns. Their shapes were jagged and menacing. Daniel and Solara, along with other Nivaran leaders and human representatives, gathered in the central council chamber. "The Karens are here," Solara said, her voice steady but edged with urgency. "They have refused peace for decades. Today they attacked to force submission." Daniel glanced at the council members. Some were pacing, others were scanning holographic maps. The Karens were known for their strength, their advanced technology, and their ruthlessness. No one could underestimate them. Dr. Hayes leaned close to Daniel. "You'll need to think fast. Humans may not have the same powers as Nivarans, but your creativity and adaptability can make the difference. Remember, your mind is your weapon." Daniel nodded, his pulse racing. Fear was still there, but so was a growing determination. He had learned from Solara, from her calm confidence, from her trust in him. He would not let that faith be in vain. The battle began at dusk. Nivaran forces, with their glowing armor and energy shields, met the jagged Karen ships in the sky above the city. Energy beams cut through the air, and the hum of engines filled the horizon. Humans, though slower and less advanced, brought strategic planning, quick thinking, and daring maneuvers. Daniel was assigned to a small strike team with Solara by his side. Their mission, to disable the Karin's command ship, a floating fortress that controlled the rest of the fleet. As they approached the ship, Daniel felt fear grip him. The Karens were larger, their weapons stronger, their presence terrifying. But he glanced at Solara, and her steady gaze gave him courage. "We do this together," she said. He nodded, gripping his control stick tightly. Inside the command ship, the air was thick with tension. Karens moved like shadows, their jagged armor clanking as they patrolled. Daniel and Solara navigated the corridors, careful to avoid detection. Every step felt like a test, not just of skill but of trust and courage. At one point, a Karen soldier appeared suddenly. Daniel froze. Solara reacted instantly, using her alien energy shield to push the intruder back. Daniel took a deep breath, remembered his training, and disabled the soldier with a precise strike to the control panel. "Good work," Solara whispered, smiling briefly. Her confidence never wavered, and Daniel felt strength he didn't know he had. They reached the central control room where the Karens were coordinating their fleet. The room pulsed with energy, glowing screens displaying attacks in real time. Daniel realized the importance of this moment. One wrong move and the city below could be destroyed. He studied the controls, his mind racing. Nivaran technology was complex, unlike anything on Earth, but with Solara guiding him, he understood patterns and sequences. Together they disabled the command shields, opening the ship to counterattack from Nivaran forces below. The Karens, realizing their command center was vulnerable, fought fiercely. Daniel dodged energy beams, pressed buttons, and coordinated with Solara, whose visions allowed them to anticipate the enemy's moves. Their teamwork was perfect, not because they were forced together, but because they had learned to trust each other. In the midst of chaos, Daniel realized something important. This was not just a battle against the Karens. It was a trial of choice. He had chosen to be here, to act, to protect Solara's world and his own. He was no longer just a visitor. He was a partner. Outside the ship, Nivaran and human forces surged forward. Energy beams met shields. Explosions lit up the sky, and the sound of war echoed across the city. But Daniel felt a strange calm inside him. Fear was still there, but it was balanced by determination and trust. He had Solara at his side, and together they were stronger than the enemy. Finally, with a coordinated push, the Karen's fleet began to retreat. Their command ship disabled, they could no longer maintain control. Daniel and Solara watched from the command room as the enemy ships fled across the horizon, dark silhouettes against the twin moons rising. The battle was won, but it had cost energy, strategy, and courage. Daniel felt exhausted, his hands trembling from adrenaline. Solara reached for him, her touch grounding him. "You did well," she said softly. "We did this together." Daniel looked at her, truly seeing her for the first time, not as the woman from visions, not as a symbol, but as a person who had trusted him, fought beside him, and believed in him. He realized that trust, courage, and intelligence were more powerful than any prophecy. After the battle, the Council of Nivara and human representatives gathered. Leaders from both sides praised Daniel and Solara's teamwork. The Karin's attack had been repelled not by brute force alone, but by creativity, unity, and courage. Dr. Hayes smiled at Daniel. You see, humans have a strength that even the most advanced technology cannot replace. Your mind, your quick thinking, and your courage made the difference. Daniel nodded, feeling a swell of pride. He had chosen to act, and in doing so, he had proven himself, not just to Nivara, but to himself. Solara approached him afterward. Her eyes glowed softly in the evening light. This was the trial of choice, she said. Not only for the enemy, but for us. You chose to walk this path not because vision demanded it, but because your heart and mind guided you. That is why I know this bond can grow. Daniel felt a warmth in his chest he could not explain. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and he had chosen to stand with her. The bond between them was no longer only vision. It was real, built on trust, courage, and choice. He looked at the glowing rivers of Nivara below and the city that had just survived a deadly threat. I choose to stand by you, he said quietly but with conviction. Solara smiled, a gentle, radiant smile. And I choose to stand by you, Daniel. In that moment, Daniel understood something profound. Humanity's greatest strength was not in technology or power, but in the ability to choose, to act, and to connect with others, even across worlds. The twin moons rose high in the sky, casting silver light over the city. The battle had tested them, but it had also strengthened them. Daniel knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, he and Solara would face them together. Their bond was no longer only vision. It was real, built on trust, action, and choice. And for the first time, Daniel felt the true meaning of being a partner, not just in vision, but in life. The twin moons of Nivara glowed high in the night sky, casting silver light across the city. After the recent battle, the streets were alive with quiet celebration. Citizens moved freely again, their energy vibrant and hopeful. The Karens had been repelled and peace returned, at least for now. Daniel walked beside Solara through the streets, feeling a strange mix of relief, pride, and anticipation. The city smelled of blossoms, softly illuminated by the bioluminescent plants lining the walkways. For the first time, he felt the full weight of what had happened. He had faced danger, worked with Solara, and proven not just to others but to himself that he could rise to challenges beyond his imagination. Solara glanced at him, her teal eyes glowing softly. You have done more than I ever imagined, she said. Not because of destiny, not because of visions, but because of your courage, your mind, and your heart. That is why this bond is real. Daniel swallowed. Words had always been difficult for him, but now he found himself speaking from the heart. I still don't understand everything about your visions, but I know this: I choose to be here. I choose to stand with you, not because it was foretold, but because I want to. Her smile deepened, radiant and warm. Then our path is truly ours, Daniel, built by choice, by action, and by trust. In the days following the battle, humans and Nivarans worked side by side to repair the damage. Buildings that had been scorched by energy blasts were repaired with glowing materials. Streets that had been torn apart were rebuilt with careful planning. Daniel found himself involved in both strategy and logistics. For a human, the alien technology was complex, but his creative thinking and adaptability helped bridge gaps that even advanced Nivaran engineers had struggled with. Solara watched him often, her calm presence offering encouragement. They spent long hours walking together through repaired gardens, floating over rivers of light and observing the city from the sky bridges. Slowly, Daniel began to understand more than just her world. He began to understand Solara herself, her hopes, her fears, her love for her people, and her respect for humanity. One evening, as the sun set, casting a warm glow over the city, Daniel and Solara climbed to the top of the highest tower. From there, the entire city stretched before them, shining and alive. Citizens moved like tiny sparks, unaware of the role Daniel and Solara had played in securing their safety. Solara took his hand gently. Daniel, there is something I want to share, she said. Your people speak of family. On Earth, families choose bonds of love. That is what I hope for us, not a path forced by visions, but a path we walk together. We have faced danger. We have chosen each other in action, not only in sight. That is the foundation of real partnership. Daniel looked at her, his heart swelling. He had never felt this way before, so connected to another being across species, across worlds. He realized that this partnership, this bond, was stronger than any prophecy or vision. It was built on understanding, respect, and shared experience. I understand, he said softly. And I feel the same way. This bond, it's ours, because we chose it. Solara's eyes shone brightly. Then let us announce it not as a vision, but as a decision. To our people, to the galaxy, let them see what humans and Niverans can achieve together. The next day, a ceremony was arranged in the central plaza of the city. Citizens gathered in glowing light, their faces filled with curiosity and anticipation. Daniel and Solara stood side by side, hand in hand, ready to make their choice known. The High Council of Nivara spoke first, praising the courage of both humans and Nivarans. They told of the recent battle, of the threats they had faced, and of the strength and intelligence that humans had shown. Daniel listened quietly, proud of what he and his people had accomplished. Finally, Solara stepped forward. People of Nivara, citizens from distant worlds, she said, her voice carrying across the plaza. For years, my people have believed in visions. I have seen the one who would walk beside me. That person is Daniel. But today I do not ask for belief in prophecy. I ask for belief in choice. Daniel has chosen to stand with me, not because of visions, but because of courage, respect, and trust. Together we choose to walk this path. Daniel's heart pounded. He stepped forward, taking a deep breath, and spoke. People of Nivara, people of Earth, people of the galaxy, I never expected to be in this position, but I stand here today by my own choice. I choose to walk beside Solara. I choose to learn from her world and share my own. I choose partnership, understanding, and hope. This is not destiny. This is a decision we make together. The crowd erupted in applause. Citizens of Nivara, humans, and visitors from other worlds cheered, their voices carrying across the plaza. Daniel felt a warmth in his chest he had never known before. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and now he was making a choice, not for fame, not for duty, but because it felt right. Solara smiled at him, and in that moment, all the visions, all the doubts, all the fear seemed to fall away. They had walked through trial together, and now they had chosen the path themselves. After the ceremony, Daniel and Solara walked through the city, observing the celebrations. Humans and Niverans mingled freely, sharing food, music, and stories. For the first time, Daniel felt that the two worlds could truly understand each other. It was not just hope, it was proof. Solara stopped at the edge of a river of glowing water, turning to Daniel. You have changed more than the course of a battle, Daniel. You have changed how our people see humans. You have shown courage, intelligence, and heart. You have proven that humans are worthy allies, not just in vision, but in reality. Daniel smiled, feeling a sense of pride and humility. I only did what I thought was right, but I couldn't have done it without you. You guided me, trusted me, and fought beside me. That made all the difference. Solara reached for his hand, holding it gently. Then our partnership is real not only for us, but for our people. Together we can show that two worlds so different can walk the same path. Daniel nodded. For the first time, he truly felt that humanity's greatest strength, the ability to choose, to act, to connect, had not only been tested but had triumphed. Over the following weeks, Daniel and Solara continued to work together, not just for celebration, but for diplomacy and learning. Humans studied Niveran technology. Niverans learned from human creativity. And both species discovered that their differences were strengths. Daniel often marveled at the way the two worlds complemented each other. The story of their partnership spread across neighboring planets. Humans and aliens alike began to see that courage, intelligence, and trust could bridge any gap. Daniel knew that he had become part of something bigger than himself, a symbol of what humanity could achieve when they combined wisdom with heart. One quiet evening, Daniel and Solara stood on a sky bridge, watching the twin moons rise high. He took her hand and smiled. Solara, I don't know what the future holds, but I know that whatever comes, we will face it together, by choice, not by vision. That makes it stronger than anything else. Solara's eyes glowed softly. Yes, Daniel, and that is the true strength of our bond. Together we create a future that belongs to both our worlds. They stood in silence, watching the city below, glowing with life, hope, and promise. For the first time, Daniel felt completely at peace. He realized then that humanity had triumphed not through force, not through prophecy, but through courage, choice, and partnership. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns, but he knew one thing for certain: together, humans and Niverans could face anything. And in that shared strength, Daniel finally understood what it truly meant to be human, and to be part of something greater than himself.